This is the Padua Podcast Network.
Running a Fever, episode 332. Living to 100 and Beyond, Delphia Welford. Who is Delphia Welford? Sounds like she's from Pennsylvania for sure. Even though she died in 1992, she is just now being added to the top 10 list. For a couple of years, she was the second oldest living person, behind Jeanne Calment. Now she is the 10th longest lived person ever at 117 years, 66 days, living from September 9, 1875 to November 14, 1992. Unlike most supercentenarians, Delphia has her own Wikipedia page. It's in the Italian edition from which I gathered much of the information I'm presenting here. Her page in English is in draft status, but you can still find it if you search. See the link in the show notes for this episode to get there and find out some more detail about Delphia. She actually was not born in Philadelphia, but in Okolona, Mississippi. As a child, she moved to Humboldt, Tennessee, where she was buried in Rose Hill Cemetery in an unmarked grave next to her son and daughter-in-law. So she is American, and next to Sarah Nouse, she is the second longest-lived person from the United States. She is also the longest-lived African-American from the United States. Delphia had one son, Leo Mathis, who died in 1966 at the young age of 70. She never married, so much for married people living longer. The notice of her death in the Jackson Sun newspaper said that her occupation was homemaker. Miss Welford was the subject of lengthy efforts to document her real age, lasting from 2016 until April of this year, and conducted by the Gerontology Research Group. Delphia Welford, as far as I can tell, was never interviewed. This is not surprising since she lived in a small town and was never on the top 10 list, having just been documented this year, 31 years after her death. So not much in the way of insights into how Delphia was able to live so long, except maybe that living in a small town and having a family and being a homemaker. Well, I hope you've enjoyed this episode about Delphia Welford, the newest addition to the top 10 longest lived people ever. If you got the fever, keep it. If you don't have the fever, go out and catch the fever. And I'll talk to you next time on Running a Fever.